all the way in Las Vegas, but we're actually quite international. All the way from Brussels, I have Jo Vercammen from Juru. Jo, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Tell me how did you get into this business in identity? Before we talk about your product and what you do, what made you get into identity?
Well, there are two ways that I've entered identity. One, I've actually have a problem with my identity. My real name is actually Joke.
Okay.
So everywhere I come, it's very hard to explain my name. So.
Oh my goodness, Joe for joke.
Yeah,
it's not a good joke in the US.
No. So I rather want to use my calling name, which is Joe, and it gives sometimes problems with security, especially if you look like me with a beard.
They think you might be a threat to airport security. Oh my God, I can't believe we're still in those awful days. Like, tell me a little bit about how you became a founder of your company.
Yeah, so basically I started with a business in cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
And there we had actually a problem that we needed identification in a cheap way. And in that particular thing, I was thinking how we can actually access good verified data as a small company without having like all the legal and
without having an entire KYC AML sort of situation.
Yeah,
what were you doing in crypto back then, and what did you have access to? Because that's a market that usually doesn't have a lot of access to government databases or credit bureaus.
Yeah. No, indeed. So it's very costly to have those accounts or to have access to that data. And we actually talked with banks to see if we could have like access to their data, and just want to go in a way of payment that we just pay to get like verified IDs from a bank.
Yeah.
And in that case, we started thinking of maybe it's like you have to build like a product that allows to open the silos that banks are and access the silo data in a more open way with new type of technology like blockchain.
So then Juru started.
Yeah.
So tell me what it is, and because you talked about a lot of things here, and I have a lot of questions. So tell me a little bit about the product, and how does it relate to the national ID scheme? Because I know you have Belgian ID that works in Gemalto and Belgium. So tell me a little bit more about it.
So basically, the idea of our product started with thinking how we can access those silos and actually have like verified ID that is able for all peoples. And we thought about what is the problem with our identity now, and we see that identity is very limited to just an identity card.
Yeah.
But
when people tell me they're digitizing identity and all they're doing is they're digitizing paper. They're not truly changing and using data as attributes for human beings. They're like, here's your old passport now in a QR code version. Like, that didn't fundamentally change the game.
Yeah.
So how are you looking to change the game? What do you guys do?
Well, what we have tried to do is that we want to see that all the data that describes you is actually important, because that is actually your true identity, not that piece of paper that we are using this, because that is only very limited to 3 or 4 attributes.
Yeah.
But you have
your date of birth, usually the attributes that are mostly hacked. Your date of birth, your surname, your age, maybe your parents' name, depending on the country you come from. So what do you use differently when you talk about bringing all the things that make me who I am? Are you using biometrics, or what are some of the things that you're using?
So those are the things that we are thinking about, and we are currently have like talks with the Port of Antwerp, for instance, where they want to have like better security on the premises, because now a lot of data fraud is going on because of the misuse of the port, especially about the white powder that has entered Europe. And for Antwerp, it's like the largest port where misconduct of the port is happening at right now. So they have like large problems of identifying people on the premises, or having like access with misuse of identity papers itself.
So they're looking for a digital first solution. So what is the stage of your startup, and like sort of what are some of the things that people can know about that make you fundamentally different? Because in this space, there's so many identity companies everywhere.
So basically, our last year we won the pitch here at.
Okay, we're just bragging a little. This is second year on OWI, and we won the pitch last year. Okay, ignorant me. Okay, there we go. So why did you win? What did you pitch?
Well, the reason that we pitched was because at that time we did solve the problem around GDPR issues.
Okay, when the US didn't even know what GDPR was.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it was like also at that time a very hot topic.
Yeah.
Also in US with a lot of data fraud, of data.
Data breach after data breach after data breach.
There's all the E10 problems. And we won the pitch because of that, because where we are looking is that we want to bring the end user as a center, because they are the people who need to
preach. I am a firm believer.
Yeah.
I own my data.
Yeah.
It's
indeed.
mine. It's
Indeed.
like I should be able to choose who gets it, how you get it, when do I get it back, how much do you get it, what can you do with it?
Yeah.
So is that part of what your product is looking to do?
Actually, that's the center of our product. So that's what we are actually doing and advocating, and that's what we implemented it for the city of Antwerp, so that they are allowing people in a very close economic model. It's a model of the city of Antwerp, where they are able to share data between the different services of the city, like for instance tourism, the public health, your library, and so on. You have all access to your data, but only if you have given consent on specific parts of your attributes. And
what are you using to, what was the sort of the because a lot of these systems are old, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the attributes live in siloed with swampy, dirty data.
So
how is it that process? Like, did you start from scratch? Like, how did your infrastructure?
What we did is we brought our new technology, which is blockchain, and with a specialized data store. So what kind of chain
are you using today? Are you using Hyperledger, Ethereum?
Yeah, for the moment we are using Hyperledger as the blockchain module.
Of choice.
Yeah, but beside that we use like a data store that is next to it, which actually keeps all the reference itself of the data, and we use which we call, it's a little bit technical.
Please be technical on me.
Okay, so it's like what we call is the data hook, and which actually what it does is when a data stream wants to connect, whether an application wants to connect to a data stream, we place a hook between it, and it checks the data, and then it will see if the data has to be filtered or not.
Yeah.
Because if a person did not give consent on it, then
so
the
it'll
data
check
is
for all the attributes and the
Yeah.
integrity, or sort of the check process of like, has every single attribute in this transaction been consented, and should it be shared?
Yeah, and otherwise we filter out the data, we scramble
So then
the
otherwise you're scrapping, you're probably encrypting what is remaining and then providing it to the third-party provider.
What it actually does, because we work like with this hook, we don't have to interfere with existing application architecture, because we only see the call, we read the call, and then we clear out the data that is not necessary in the system. So it's more like
so you're data cleaning.
Yeah, data cleaning.
You're streaming and cleaning the amount of information that's embedded in me. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So then talk to me about, where do you see the future of your company going? Like, what are some of the things that are specific to an European market and a sensitivity towards data? Because I often find people I don't know. If you were to sit at a dinner table, does the average person really know what your data is?
What we try to do is we want to get track on your data streams at a company, and we want to do it in a way that it's cost effective, that you don't have to implement like large during project, that you have to build like large integration project to solve that part of issues with GDPR, or with identification, or with data exchanges between different companies. And that's like the Port of Antwerp. It's like a conglomerate of different companies.
Yeah.
And why can it not solve the identity problem? Because its cost is big in integration.
It's massive.
Yeah, and that's actually our wild card that we have, that we can say, okay, for integration we have like a solution that is very cheap to implement, and that's why we use also blockchain technology, because that is like an intermediate platform where we can inter-exchange the fact that the data that we have sent it to you, is actually valid and is correctly, is the data that
immutable
you
in
actually
there.
without actually
Me touching it or you owning it.
Yeah.
Where do you see? So you're based in.
For the moment, we're based in Antwerp. So.
Okay, and then hoping to grow. So this is the second year coming to OWI. What are you excited about for the show?
Well, for me, for instance,
other than obviously this interview.
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, for me, I think for identity, it's like the foremost best conference that I've been to.
Yeah. Why is that? I have my own opinion. Curious about yours.
I think they have like good and great speakers like David Birch. It's my number one fan of
Are you a fan of Birch? Yeah, I am too. We kind of have to. He's like the god. He tells me only when he retires he will pass the throne over. So I'm waiting. Dave, I'm waiting.
So basically our ideas are all coming also from one of his first books about identity is the new money, which I think is like the implementation that we should use for identity management. And I think that's something that what I see in this conference, that we are talking more in that kind of way of how identity should be in an ideal world be created. Where in other conferences we see less
point solutions. Yeah. It's a lot of point solutions. Yeah. Right. To me, identity is at its core a very interoperable problem.
Yeah.
You have to you're talking about bringing human beings and different organizations with different sovereignties together to be able to interoperate.
Yeah.
And like data without knowing who is it from or what is it for is worthless.
Yeah.
So the identity of data to me comes in the form of attributes, whether that is my fridge or my shoes or this conversation or whatever it is that it belongs to me.
Yeah,
so
of course. And that's one of our major issues that we have. Is like it's not the technology itself, but like for instance, who is validating the data? What's the process? How the data is validated? And that's for us. It's like why we are still a startup or still working on it, is because we invest a lot of research in the front, where we actually want to do like the validation, how it's done, how we can incorporate that as a part of a trust level to bring in the identity stream. That is like the most difficult part of the puzzle. So
it's bringing them all together and how do you find that the average person, like we know that obviously banks have to deal with it, large telecommunications are looking at this, governments all over the place are looking at it, are being forced to look at it from a data protectionist perspective. How about the average person? Like, do you think the average person, because like that is one of my passions, is like, how do you bring literacy? How do I explain to my grandma what I do for a living?
The problem is that we are like...
Don't we like complicating things? I think we do. Like,
of course, but it's also
words
like complicated matter, because people now can sign up on every website by just saying, okay, just click on sign in with Facebook, sign in with LinkedIn. And if
they have no idea what they're giving up, eh?
Yeah, so they give up part of their sovereignty, but the other part that you are saying is as if you explained, but do you really agree that Facebook is controlling all your data and knowing where you go? No, that's not a part of my consent that I give. I just want to say that I have some data from Facebook and I want to share it on that website to get registered on a very easy way. But it's not the deal that you're signing.
It's so crazy to see the world like surrendering to what is to me convenience. Authentication made simple has given people an idea of losing their dignity, their identity.
And for me, it's a problem of government. I think the government is not performing their task well to educate people, to bring, to explain people what they are doing, and actually maybe try to stop those big corporates to take over those data schemes, because that's a big major threat for each government.
For each sovereignty, if nothing else. Like you're starting to see that in like sort of China tariffs, Russia tariffs, India latest Protection Act of last year, they're doing that as well, trying to keep data inside, but not really explaining to people what does it mean.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Jo, or Joke. Can I call you? Can I call you by your right name?
You can.
Is that allowed? I super appreciate you coming on the show. If anybody wants to talk to you or hear about your company, I'll make sure that we share with you. So if you haven't watched, stay in the know, be in the know, and we'll be back.